Get it. Good night, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. As you can see, I'm in the spirit of Halloween here. Got one of the masks I wore this weekend on. I probably sound like shit, but I wanted to start off the show wearing one of my lovely masks that I like to wear. And I said, I wanted to come outside and enjoy some of the Halloween shenanigans for a minute. And I did that. So that was cool. And now here I am inside, wondering why my damn stream always comes up with friends only when my page is public. Come on, Facebook. Come on. Let's get this together. It's like how many 550 years do we gotta do this? Now, I'm not gonna keep that on the whole time because, that's not gonna work for me. You know what I'm saying? You know, if somebody asks me to put the mask on because they tired of looking at my face, I'll be like, okay, here I am. Happy Halloween. Hopefully everybody been enjoying themselves. You know what I'm saying? I'm Maximus. You watching the social experiment right now. And that being said, right now, the topic for today is about dating and how to enhance the process. Because a lot of times, from what I've heard, and I mean, I actually have some questions and emails that I have here that I'm going to go through that people that have spoken to me that have watched the show in passing or whatever the case may be have mentioned as issues that they've come across in the dating world. And, I talk about dating a lot because I myself am a sucker for the whole love experience. You know what I'm saying? I like people to find their happy place, to find their special person. In order for them to feel fulfilled in some cases, not everybody's like this, but in some cases, the only way people are going to feel fulfilled is if they know that they have a special someone, that they find somebody that matches up with what it is that they need. Because often things like that can be problematic. So, that being said, as I sit here and I look at, oh my God, there's so many people on here today. I'm sure people are outside doing the whole Halloween thing. I figured I'd come up on here, get this shit rocking anyway, because I want y'all to understand. Typically, this show goes down 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesdays. Today's Tuesday, but started a little late today with some technical difficulties, and it kind of ran me behind. It was nothing to do with the show, but I had some other things going on. So that stuff kind of hindered my ability to show up here on time because I'm trying to work on, you know, I want to be here in as much of a timely manner as possible. So, yeah. Anyway, now I have a question here and I'm going to read this. Okay. And this person said they're 29 years old. They're seeking, it's a 29-year-old female. She works for, well, I won't say the company she works for, but she's in an executive position at her company already. She's one of those people that's achieved early. And she says she's the type of female who doesn't really care about what the guy's earning as long as he's doing something gainfully as far as employment. As long as he has a job and he can pay his bills and stuff, general shit. Um, and she said her problem is every time she goes out on a date, she finds, and I mean, this is a topic that I've seen going on online. A lot of these guys don't have like any kind of chivalry to them whatsoever, for starters. Like they'll walk directly to their car and they'll, just open the door and walk through and let her come in after, or they don't walk with her the right way or anything like that. And she said, she has a lot of old school values based on things that she's been through. Her dad, as a matter of fact, gave her like a bunch of old school values. So, based on the thing that she's been through dating wise, it seems like she apparently, even though she's a young one, she leans into the older side of things as far as the way her expectations as far as dating are centered around that. So she came to me with this, and she said one of the biggest issues she's had too is she seems to find like guys who financially do all right, whatever for themselves. They might not make as much as her, but they do all right. But then either they're lacking in conversation or they have issues as far as knowing how to romance. And I'm sure there are people who can relate with these issues. So, what ended up happening, as far as what I'd say to her, because I'm sure she's gonna peek in. She said she might not catch the live, but she said she would definitely catch it on the record, if anything. And she said that she wishes to have a partner that is on the same type of timing as her. Hmm. Well, this is what I advise. I advise, first off, I tell people this all the time. Whenever you find a pattern forming, as far as whatever your dating issue is, and this doesn't have to be a male nor woman thing, this is everybody's thing. As I say, it's about myself too. Whenever you find yourself having an issue and you keep having the same issue recurring over and over again, you have to start evaluating the way that you're making your choices. Like, I will use myself as an example because I don't like to put other people on the chopping block. I'd rather put my own head on there. It's my show. And why not use myself as an example? So, one thing that's been a big no to me for most of my dating life has been about long distance relationships. I've never been a big fan of them. I never even wanted to entertain them. A few times I have tried, of course, it didn't fail, but I mean, it failed. But I feel like a lot of times it failed because because me, I didn't believe in it. So if you go into something expecting failure, you can't be mad when the shit goes south on you. And I mean, you could use this when it comes to business. You could use this when it comes to relationship. You can use this in anything. If you walk in expecting failure, then guess what you're going to get? So you have to come into this first off with a mentality of, hey, I want to win at this. So I'm going to come at this with an expectation as if I know I can win at this. So that's really the first and foremost thing you have to do. After that, you also have to evaluate where you're meeting people, because often where you're meeting people can help to determine whether or not this is something that's going to be conducive for your success. Like if you're meeting people and you're only meeting people, like let's say, oh, you work a lot, so you typically only meet people online on Facebook, and that's your excuse, blah, 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 blah. Listen, you got to step out on your own. I can even refer you to some dope things if if you're in the New York area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area, especially New York and New Jersey. Like there's a couple of IG groups out there specialize in having singles meet up. And I've also spoken with some people and I've considered doing something like that too, especially for my people in the lifestyle community because a lot of them want to date too. And just because they might have a more open mind sexually doesn't mean that they don't still want the things like love and romance and all of the other cute shit that goes along with it. But in order to attain that, it's going to require you to step outside of your comfort zone. Just like whenever you got that next level of success, for those of you who are successful at your jobs or successful in whatever business you're doing, you had to step outside of your comfort zone. You have to do the same when it comes to your relationships. You can't keep sticking into the same circles and thinking that you're going to find something special because more than likely, what's going to end up happening is you're not going to find anything. You're going to end up just having a bunch of people that you dated. You might end up with a bunch of friends, a bunch of, oh, yeah, they were cool, but a whole bunch of unfinished stories. You don't want that. So you have to step outside your comfort zone. And that swings back to me because in order for me to be successful in my dating, because I've had people ask this question to me. They said, Max, how is it that you ain't married, but you've advised so many couples married or just in a relationship and couples in all different types of dynamics? How can you have that insight, but you don't even have that yourself? And I said, first of all, the greatest teacher there ever is failure. And the fact that I'm still single shows that I failed on several different occasions. It doesn't matter whose fault it was. I failed because I am not married. And that's okay because everything is a learning lesson. And the main thing you have to realize when you come into your own is that nobody's going to see your thousands of failures. All they're going to see is your success. So they'll be there to congratulate you when you finally get that success, whatever it be in love and life, career, relationships, whatever it is. They're not going to see your, they're not going to see all the failures that you've had because most people don't post on their Facebook or their IG or whatever and say, look, another failure, another failure. Nah, we put up the success. Just like when I record videos on my TikTok, there are plenty of times I've had to do that shit in 2 or 3 takes because I didn't like the way I said something or maybe the words got jumbled up. Like, people think that talking live is easy. Talking live is not easy because there's no do-overs. There's no, oh shit, let me run that back, erase that, and do it again. The thing is, you have to constantly apply and reapply your efforts in order to find the success that you want to find. And for those of you willing to embark on that journey, you will definitely meet the success that you want. And again, swinging back to myself, that's what I chose when I said to myself, you know what? I'm not going to limit myself to just what's super convenient and right around me. I'm also going to consider that the person that I might end up with could be in another state right now. And I just need to step out of my comfort zone and give other things a chance because doing this shit locally has not been a slam dunk. So I said to myself, not to say that I won't date locally, because I mean, of course, but my thing is I'm looking and broadening my options. Sometimes it's kind of like when you're searching for a pair of jeans. You might not find that very specific jean. You might have to open the filters up a little bit because sometimes that jean that you want might have a different kind of name. But once you find it, then you say, oh shit, no, those are the jeans. Oh shit. You put them on, they fit perfectly, everything's good, and you get to move on and be happy with your purchase. It's the same thing when it comes to your relationships. Sometimes you gotta broaden them filters. Nobody's saying to sacrifice your base wants, your base needs, or base desires. But all of us tend to tighten them filters up a lot sometimes. And then we wonder why we go through so much when it comes to struggling to find people that match properly. Because if you are doing nothing but having these tight filters, there's no way that you're ever going to hope to find exactly what you want, perfect to spec, because it's not realistic. I mean, I'll say this: it's improbable, as much as people don't like to hear that. But it is an improbable thing because there's a chance that you might find what you want to the exact letter, but there's also a chance that you could hit the lotto. My whole thing is are you really going to play the odds of feeling lucky, or are you going to be realistic and say, you know what I want versus what I need may not be a matching situation. And that's something that I personally have come to terms with because I know for a fact that there's no way that I can be successful if I never evolve, never grow, never broaden my horizons. So, to you, Miss Anonymous, I will say you probably want to broaden your horizons a bit. You want to, and you know what I'm talking about because we've discussed some things offline. Open your mind up some to more possibilities because often what we need, we think we know what we need and what we want until we get that thing we wanted and then realize we really didn't need that. And then you look back and say, damn, I really didn't even need that. I fucking wasted my time with that shit. And now, hindsight being 2020, you're looking and wishing that you could have did that differently. But at this point, now it's water under the bridge. You don't want to wait till it's water under the bridge. Like, I want you people that watch this to learn from the examples that I give and from my own personal experiences, as well as from clients that I have sat with and so on and so forth, because the wise person is always willing to learn from the mistakes of others so they don't have to necessarily make those errors themselves. It's not a good look to have yourself in a position like that where you constantly slam your head into the ground. The only reason you're going through all of that is because you have chosen to not take on those other people's examples. And because of that, now you got to bust your own head into the wall over and over and over again. And that's no good. You want to avoid those problems, not compound them. So, a lot of the stuff that I'm saying, these are things, and I know that there's a good amount of people on my Facebook, especially, that need to take heed to the shit that I be talking about because, yeah, it'd be rough out here. But anyway, so that's what I have for you, Miss Anonymous. It's not very complex in your eyes, and I'm not going to get into the deeper parts because that would be something that I would do privately because I don't want to put your business out there. Also, another thing, I'm going to type my email address in my comments because what I want to do here is anybody that wants to ask a question, if you want to do it anonymously, I'm going to put my email address where I take my questions at because I feel like sometimes people want to ask things. I've had people hit me up, and what will end up happening is sometimes I forget what the fuck they even asked me because you might ask me while I'm outside somewhere or while I'm, or in passing, we might be at an event or something and you talk to me about something and I'm not gonna remember that. So I would just say to avoid all of that, this is going to be the place where the questions are going to go. And I'm going to put that up on the screen. I'm also going to put it on the description for the YouTube. So this way, for now on and moving forward, if anybody has questions about anything, that's where they can send them to. Or if you have an interest on having a discussion with me on here, there's something you want to talk about, it could be anything. Because I'm talking a lot about relationships right now because that's a very important thing. Love is a very important part of life. So I'm talking about it a lot, but there's a lot of other stuff that can be discussed too. And I want you to feel comfortable in being able to have your questions answered. So the email I'm going to use, well, I'm going to put it up, but it's going to be mindofmaximus21 at gmail.com. And that's going to be where you send your questions. Or if you're on Facebook, you could shoot me a DM. But I'd really rather most of the questions be via email, only because it helps me to sort it out better because my DM is very busy with a lot of nonsense. And I don't want to get that all mixed up. I'm going to verify this email situation right now. Bear with me for 1 second while I do that. Boom, 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 because I want to make sure. Yeah. Okay, so we'll use this one. All right. So anyway, what I'm gonna use this email address instead because this one I just realized I wanted to use a different email address for this. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it in the comments. If you're watching on Facebook, you can see it. Somebody's chat is always popping up when I'm trying to do shit, and it's mad annoying. Anyway, so here it is. 145. Boom. That's my email address there for the Facebook people. And yes, I'm working multiple devices. So if you see me typing in multiple places, that is why. Boom. And I'll even put it just in the comments on YouTube because I'm streaming from 3 places at once. So just so that's out there. And this is where you can send questions should you have questions to ask. Because asking me in passing at a party might not necessarily be the best time to come at me. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, I'm not going to remember this shit. I'll be trying. It don't always work out that way. But, I try to remember things when people tell me them, but I got a lot going on. So, sometimes I might lose track of a specific question or somebody's trying to whatever, if they're trying to get to me for whatever reason, they want to pick my brain on something. I just want them to be able to do that without, you know, feeling like, feeling like it's something they could have had answered, but they didn't because They just didn't think about it at the time. This gives you the opportunity. Like I said, it's in the comments. So that's the email address if somebody has a question, or you can shoot me a DM. And moving on. Now, this one's a little crazy. So we have a gentleman here. He's 43 years old, my age. He works in the marketing industry. He said he's been looking to have a serious partner. I will say this because I try not to blow people up, but just to give it a little context, this brother is of the lifestyle community. So just to add that little caveat to it, um, apparently the problem he's been having is that he's been trying to find a serious partner. He's not really into poly so much in his residential life. He's more into just having a swing life partner. Like he wants to have a relationship with somebody that he can swing with, and all that is cool and cute. He doesn't care to have multiple people in his household, but he wants them to be open to, swinging, swapping, all of that stuff that goes with it. He said he's tried on multiple occasions in the city he lives in to date, and he says he lives in a city where the odds are very much in his favor, but for some reason he's still having a hard time dating. And he says, he hooks up, he'll have a good time with them, whatever. But, and I mean, I laugh at this because this is like reading my own story in a lot of ways, but that consistency. And I could answer this one pretty simple. That's why I said this one is crazy because this one, when I read this, I was like, did I email myself? Because I can relate with this. Like, it can be hard, especially when you operate within a niche community, to necessarily find somebody to share in that with you. It can be hard. I won't lie to you because you already have narrowed your filter because you don't want to deal with somebody who would be considered vanilla because they're not going to understand those extracurricular desires that you may have, those extracurricular desires that you may, crave this or you want to do a little extra something here, whatever extra little perversions you may have. They're not going to understand that because they don't function in that. And that's okay. But if you do function in that way, you would hope that you have somebody there who also is going to function in that way with you. So he said, sorry, I'm speed reading through the things that tell too much. Okay, so to keep this general, he's been out on several dates. He does okay with getting dates. He does okay with hookups. But it's like for some reason he has a hard time actually finding, like he wants to find love. He wants to have, like he wants to enjoy the entire experience with someone and have a loving partner to enjoy that with. And I mean, listen, I hear you, brother. Oh, Jesus. All right. So what I tell you is I tell you, honestly, this is one of them chances. I mean, one of the chances. This is one of them times where really the answer simply is to have enough tenacity to keep pushing through. Because some women are out there that want that. They are. They're somewhere. They might not be where you at. Just like with me, I said to myself, hey, let me broaden my horizons a little bit, keep my mind open. This way I could see what happens. Because you never know. I mean, man, a person might even be somebody who is vanilla at the moment, but might have the mentality to cross over because they already are like that. They just never really had a definition for it. So, that could be a thing too. You know, don't go to these parties looking to meet the love of your life. Because, I mean, it's not impossible. Well, a lot of times when women come to these parties, they come on one frame of mind. Now, I will tell y'all, I do have a solution for my lifestylers that I'm working on that'll be very helpful to them in the future for those that do seek out love and so on and so forth. And I think it'll be a very I think it'll be a very successful activity once I put that in motion. I'm working on a framework in the background, but right now everything's not out there like that. So I will just tell you to stay tuned and be paying attention to what I'm doing because when this does go down, I want you to be able to take advantage of it. But yeah, and honestly, brother, the best thing you can do is don't look too hard. I found you keep your mind open, you keep your ears to the street, but don't seek it so hard. Because often when we try to push things to happen, when it comes to love and relationships, normally that's when it goes opposite. And even if it's not going opposite, it feels like it's going opposite because you want it so bad that every failure is like a dagger in the fucking chest. And you don't want to put yourself in a position where you feel like, damn, I failed. It's a fucking dagger in my chest. I don't know what to do. I'm about to give up. Fuck this shit. You a black dude talking about F this. I'm about to just go after the white girls because the black girls don't appreciate me. You a white boy, you might be saying, oh, yo. I'm about to just go after the black chicks because they'll appreciate me because the white women ain't. Listen, all of that is bullshit. That race stuff is nonsense. But the only way you're going to come to terms with that, you have to first get out of your head of forcing it to happen. Don't force it. Want it, desire it, do work to make it happen, but don't force it. You go to an event, have a good time, keep your mind open, keep your, like I said, keep your ear to the street, see what's going on around you, make friends, mingle, exchange numbers, keep doing the dating process. The thing a lot of people got to realize about dating is a lot of this shit is trial and error. So you have to keep trialing it until you hit your home run. And just because you did it once or twice, oh, it didn't work, so that's a fail, so I ain't doing that no more. Nah, that's not how that works. You have to keep applying yourself. Just like if everybody operated on terminology of, man, I did that thing one time and it failed, guess what would happen? Everybody would end up with no advances in science, no advances in anything. You know why? Because everybody would just try once or twice, then they give up and they throw their hands in the air and say, fuck it, I quit, it's over. You don't want to be like that. You want to be successful. The difference between those that are successful and everybody else, like those that reach those high echelons of success, a lot of them have been asked. I've listened to interviews with them, and you know what they always say? Where everybody else gave up, I kept pushing through. You have to keep pushing through. You have to believe in yourself even when everybody else tells you that you're crazy. Matter of fact, let me give you a little secret. When people are telling you that you're crazy, that's the exact fucking moment that you know you're going in the right direction. Because you don't want to do the norm when it comes to things that are supposed to be spectacular. Any of the inventions we have because somebody was willing to step out of the norm and reach out and do something spectacular. Now, if you want something like that, you got to step out of your comfort zone. Going back to what I said before, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to understand there's no success to be had if you're comfortable. Now, if it just happens to come easy to you, then good on you. But in reality, 99% of the time, any of the success that you was going to have, you had to keep working and hammering at and fighting and clawing and scratching. Let me tell you something. Finding a person that loves you, finding a person that is your special partner is wonderful. But understand, once you have them, the relationship itself should be fucking easy. The relationship itself should be easy. It shouldn't even be a struggle. You shouldn't be going through a headache. You shouldn't be, because when you finally find somebody that melds into you, it will literally do this. Oh my God, what the hell, watch? Anyway, my watch decided it wants to update while I'm in the middle of recording. So my whole thing is that you have to be willing to step beyond your normal limitations. It's like when you go to the gym and you work out, you're not going to make any gains if you lift the same weight all the time. If you want to lose weight, you can't keep eating freaking things like this, which is why I've been gaining fucking weight because I've been stress eating and such because I am not perfect. I go through my shit. You know what I mean? And sometimes I eat. I'll tell you something. Share a little something with y'all on here. I looked at my Halloween pictures. And the thing is, I've been an athlete most of my life. I looked at my Halloween pictures and I said to myself, hell no, because I just did not like what I saw. So, you know what I said? I set me a schedule and I have it in my phone. These are the days I'm working out, no excuses, no bullshit, no questions asked. If I'm doing electrical work during the day or in the morning, then when I finish with that in the evening, banging out them weights. I literally have no excuses as my gym is in my goddamn building. So while others may say, oh, I don't have time, I really don't have that excuse. I've just been lazy and I've been dealing with some other things. So I haven't been focused on getting me right. Because that's another thing, too. In order for you to be successful in a relationship, you have to get you right, too. And see, that's the difference between me. I was saying a lot of people who do these podcasts, I share a lot about myself because I want y'all to understand that even with all the things I do have going for me and the things I do have, whatever, I go through shit too. You're not alone. And that's something I want all of you that look at this to understand and respect and appreciate is understand that you are not alone in your struggle. When you feel like, oh my God, everybody else has got their special person. I'm sitting up here dealing with this dude. I've heard stories of dudes going out with a female, and it's to the point like I'll go out with a female, and she's like, "Oh my God, where's my wallet?" Da, da, da. And she's panicking because She's like, it's just a habit for her to panic like that because she knows multiple times where guys would go out with her and then they'll skip on the chat or they'll pull the whole, oh, I forgot my wallet song in there. And I mean, that is so tacky. That is so tacky. I'm mad that we literally had a chick, and I don't know why. And I'm gonna say this. I was gonna do a separate video about this, but I'm gonna just say this on here. I'm tired of these trolling ass videos talking about the things demand on a date and blah 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 blah. Shut up. Like we hear you, but shut up. Don't nobody want to hear all that. Like you come bellowing a bunch of demands, and it's like, okay, yes, we get it. Like, oh, girl, the most recent one is this girl was crying about her steak being cut for her and opening the door and pulling out the chair. I roll my eyes at those because I feel like that should be done. It's automatic. Fellas, she shouldn't have to yell about that. Now, the cutting up steak for you thing, I mean, if you want me to cut it up, I have no issue in doing it. But the same thing at time, it's like, are you a baby? Like I gotta sit there and slice a little steak and I feed it to you and it's all cute. I understand a lot of y'all watch a lot of TV, but as a person that's been to many restaurants, observed many dates, had many himself, I will tell you I can't recall if even twice I've ever seen a guy literally cutting a woman's food and feeding it to her when it's at the table. More than likely, they ate together. They might have prayed on their food before they ate it, whatever. But some hills are not the hills to die on. And one hill that's not to die on, honestly, is cutting up your food. Now, the other stuff, I hear you. And yes, chivalry needs to be reinstated because chivalry is a thing that, quite honestly, is lacking in a lot of today's relationships. It's sad that a woman has to go like literally a woman goes viral for doing nothing but complaining about a chair being pulled out, opening the door and cutting up her fucking steak. Like, bro, if you're on a date with a female, she wants you to cut a steak for her, just cut the fucking steak. If she likes that, do that for her. You know why a lot of men don't know who likes their steak being cut up for them and who don't care about that? Because motherfuckers don't communicate. Every podcast I do comes back around to communication. Why? Because communication is the end all be all. A lot of things will be answered if your communication is on point. You'll find yourself not complaining about so much because you already know what's up with this person because your communication will be on point. But if your communication is not on point, guess what? You're going to find yourself struggling over and over again with the same bullshit. Aren't you tired of that? Don't you want your dating and relationship experiences to be smooth? If you want that, then why don't you help to create that environment for yourself? A lot of you say that you want this, you want to be treated a certain way on the dates, whatever, but y'all the same ones who barely talk. Like there's some women talk, oh, I don't really like small talk like that, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, don't be mad when this person doesn't get it right because how they supposed to know what the fuck you like? You can't get mad at somebody for not doing something you don't like or not doing something you like, I should say. If you don't tell them, communication. It doesn't have to be a dirty word. It's okay. Communicate. If you communicate, a lot of these things will be avoided. I won't have to keep talking about this stuff. But obviously I do because a lot of y'all not getting it. You know, I understand maybe y'all tired of hearing what I got to say. You know, I will be bringing in other people to the show at times. But to be honest with you, this is something, being I was reading Q&As, something that I wanted to talk with y'all one on one per se. Now, I do have more, but I think I'm gonna save those. I want to see what else comes into my email box. Like I said, I also do consultations. So for those of you who feel you need a bit more than what I'm going to discuss here on YouTube slash Facebook, feel free to reach out to me. You know, my prices are fair. I'm not going to kill you with the price. I'm not charging you $100 an hour or nothing crazy like that. And I promise you that the insight that you'll get from me will be very, very useful. My success rate speaks for itself. My ability to perceive an entire situation and to read and profile people is something that's second to none as far as I'm concerned. Most people don't have the level of perception that I do. There are people who've literally, well, you could ask them yourself. I would barely know them, but just based off certain little things, I could break down their whole personality profile. You know, this is something that I have a lot of passion for, something I care a lot about. You know, kind of like with the whole sword thing. I've been sitting here fucking around with my sword because one of my swords came in the mail today. I was gonna actually use it as part of a Halloween costume that I was gonna put together, but I had to change it because this sword came delayed. Thanks a lot, Amazon. Appreciate y'all being slow with my shit. And I had to modify my costume last minute. Because with me, when I make my costumes, a lot of times, unless I have a very specific thing I want to wear, I normally will put something together that'll give you a certain concept. Like I had this whole darkness, you know, kind of demon type concept energy this year. So both of my costumes were themed around that. You know, I put on shirt, pants. You know, I had a different sword, but that sword was a stupid little Party City sword. This is a katana, for those who don't know. I actually love collecting swords. This one is great. Like the sheath can be used as a defense mechanism. That's typically what they do when they use the katana. Is you have this for the offense, this for the defense. Obviously, I'm not pulling the sword out because I ain't about to do all that. But you know, getting back to what I'm discussing here, I just want you to understand that my mission on here is to make sure that everybody has the most fair and most informed ability to step into the dating community as they possibly can have, given my perspective and given my experience. I feel like it would be very useful to you all. So, that being said, I do appreciate y'all watching today. I'm shutting this down as I like my, I typically like the one on ones, like when it's just me talking with y'all, unless it's a whole laundry list of shit, I'd rather it go like an hour tops. Um, when I have somebody on, typically those shows will go longer because it's not just me. expressing what I gotta say, I gotta hear what they gotta say too, and we're gonna have a discussion about it. If you would like to come on here and you want to talk about something, like I said, I know there's a couple of people who mentioned that they wanted to, and I'm gonna get to y'all in future topics. Um, I would like y'all to try to hit me on the DM if you're on Facebook. If you're on YouTube and you see this, like I said in the comments right here, I put the email for those that see it live. If you're seeing this after the fact, I'm going to put it in the description on YouTube. So this way, if you have any questions, if you want me to talk about something you have a question about online, and you don't want to put yourself out there, but you want me to talk about it, and especially if it's something that might require just more than my perspective, I can even get somebody on here with me, and we can have a discussion about whatever it is that you have to be discussed. So that being said, I like to wish everybody a happy Halloween. And of course, stay safe out there. You know, keep your minds and your hearts open, and you'll be surprised at what may actually come into your life. Anyway, I'll holler at y'all. Peace. And happy Halloween. No. Sorry, I couldn't help it. I had to do that once. Later.